Well, hello and welcome to this week's Countryside programme here on Manx Radio. I'm Simon Clark.
And I'm Kiri Kermode.
Well, we had a wonderful weekend at the Treadalure Sheepdog Trials at Bishop's Court Farm in Kirkmichael, courtesy of the Crow family. 3 wonderful days of competition from guests from all over the world, Kiri, wasn't it?
It's amazing how people are attracted to it, but one of the contenders there, you've seen it on Facebook. I thought it was really well organised, seemed very professional, easy to book, and he came via social media. Can you believe it?
Excellent, and that's how the message gets across. But the committee done a wonderful job getting people from Austria and Italy over there. Twice world champion Aled Owen was there with 2 dogs. Wonderful display they had on there. So we'll be hearing from that. And you caught up with the winner on this week's programme. We've got plenty of audio from that. So a couple of weeks we'll have bits and pieces of all the people we spoke to on the programme. And also, of course, we've all seen some great photographs of the Isle of Man, haven't we, from various places. But John Warnham, retired air traffic controller from Rollsway Airport, he flies drones and takes some wonderful aerial images which give a different perspective of the wonderful scenic photographs that we're used to around the Isle of Man.
Well, this is it. And also with having those pictures come online, it gives people the inspiration to go and explore. Oh, I haven't been there, or must go and have a look. And some of the places on the Isle of Man are just stunning, aren't they? We're so lucky. And also maybe if people can't get out and enjoy the countryside for one reason or another, it's a great thing to sit back and watch them on your computer screen.
It is that, and you get that different view, because you can drive up in your car, I suppose, and people can show you these places. But as you say, the less able of the people around about, they can go to John's website and have a look at the images and see the island from a different light, really.
It's quite funny how some of the pictures I couldn't even spot where they were, and they're really common, close to home places too, and he's doing a great job there, and it can't be easy flying a drone.
No, indeed. So there we go. That's John Warnham and also the Sheepdog Trials, all here on this week's Countryside, so sit back and enjoy. Well, the weather didn't disappoint the people coming over to take part in the Isle of Man Treadalure Sheepdog Trials, Kiri, did it?
Oh, what a wonderful weekend it was. And not too hot, not too cold, but on the Sunday there, the sun shone for the final 16, and what an abundance of dogs and people are in attendance there too.
Yeah, people from Austria, a fella from Italy that we caught up with as well. Lots of local support in the event. And what a setting it was, looking over that big field that was, in the hands of Richard Crow from Bishop's Court Farm. It
didn't go without its humps and hollows. It must have been quite hard to run the dog across it. But one of the competitors there said it was one of the nicest fields they've been on. So credit to all of them there at Bishop's Court.
Indeed, we've got plenty to fit in. We'll probably have to play some of it next week's programme. But when the final 3 were announced, third place was twice world champion Aled Owen. The runner-up on the day was Jed Watson. And when the prizes had been presented, very smart he'd put his tie on then. You caught up with the winner?
The champion of the day was Michael Longton from Lancaster. And I caught up with him to see, was he from a farming background?
Yes, yeah. Beef and sheep farm up just outside Lancaster. So I spent the morning before I set off on the ferry clipping sheep. So
keeping you grounded.
Yeah, keeping me grounded. I would imagine when I get back tomorrow afternoon, I'll be back to the same.
This is it. The heat has just come now, and like you say, the pressure's on to get the wool off the sheep, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And how have you found this weekend?
Oh, it's been great. Really, really good. Been well organised. The sheep have been testing, but not too testing all the time. So they've been just how you want them for a trial, really.
This is it. And tell us a bit about your dog.
Well, his name's Gwyn. I've only had him, I bought him about February last year, so I've had him about nearly 18 months. Yeah. He's very different to what I usually run.
Oh, right.
I tend to go for a rough-coated dog, and they tend to work a little bit different. He's quicker, so I have to be quicker.
Yeah.
So every time I run him, I'm learning something.
I bet.
So yeah, but no, he's very quick and biddable, and yesterday and today he did everything that I could have wanted him to. The day before wasn't so good, but
really.
Yeah.
And do they have off days just like us?
Yeah, definitely. On Friday when I ran him, I had a good start, but then going around the drives there was a sheep fighting, trying to just on the edge and always just pushing the limits. And when he has one that does that, he wants to fight back, which means he doesn't listen as well. and then things don't go as well as I'd like. But then yesterday in the qualifier, I had a similar sort of a sheep, and he worked it perfectly.
It's just how they feel on the day, I suppose.
Every dog has its day.
This is it.
Yeah.
But 18 months, that's very, very young, is it not?
No, he is. I bought him trained.
Oh, right, okay.
He's
sorry,
about
yeah.
3. So
Ah,
he was
right,
about
yeah.
18 months when I bought him.
Oh, right, I see. And do you not find that training them yourself would be an advantage, or how do you feel on that? Because obviously everybody's different choices.
I usually do train my own, but I'm just going through a bit of a dry spell of training them. You know, they can only, no matter what they are, when you're training them, they can only get to a certain level themselves.
Yeah.
And at the moment, when I've been training them, they've not got as good as I'd like. So,
Right, okay.
so I went looking for one, and this is the one that I found.
And with you saying it being a different type, do you think that's give it the extra edge, compared to the dogs you've been used to in the past?
A little bit, yeah, because he's very, very biddable. He'll do what I ask him very quickly, whereas what I usually would run aren't as quick responding to the lefts and the rights. They usually just kind of push on a corner, whereas he goes a bit squarer and goes a bit faster.
Yeah.
So I have to be on it, so that I know the command for the move comes very quickly, followed by the command for the stop.
That's so it is a challenge for the two of you then,
Yes,
really, isn't
yes,
it?
Definitely.
But tell the listeners what you actually have to do in a sheepdog trial. Where are the points scored?
Well, in the qualifier, there was on the Friday and the Saturday, there's just what we call a standard national style course where we. Sorry.
Bit of a dog fight there.
A standard national style course, which is an outrun, lift, fetch, triangular shaped drive, and then back into a shedding ring where usually at a national level then there would be 5 sheep, 2 would have collars and 3 wouldn't. Here there were 4 sheep, 1 had a collar and 3 didn't, and the shed would usually be 2 of the 3 when it's 5, but it's the same, 2 of the 3. But then you pen them and then you go back into the ring, and usually it's 1 of the 2. But because there was only 1, it made it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, it must be so much more difficult because as a farmer myself, they run as a bunch, they run together, and to get a single sheep off on its own is some task.
When there's 2, you can be working on 1, and then all of a sudden 1 comes at the other end, and you're like, you've got it. But when there's just 1 and you're working on it, it's quite difficult. To qualify, I had 6 seconds left.
Oh my! So the pressure was really on then.
And I had a watch on, so I knew what my time was doing, and then I managed to get it, and
Goodness me.
6 seconds left, but yeah, I made it. And then today it's been what's called a double gather with an international style shed. So you do 1 gather to the left, and then you fetch the sheep into the middle, and then the second gather was to the right, and then you put them all together and you drive them all round and get into the ring. And there were 16 sheep today, and 5 of the 16 had collars on, and you had to let the ones without collars go and keep hold of the 5 with collars, and then put the 5 with the collars in the pen.
You can't say this isn't stressful.
It's stressful when it goes wrong. It's stressful when it goes right, but when it goes right, it feels amazing. Yeah, like it did this morning.
And will the dog sense your stress or your fear, or you're running out of time, the voice changes? Can they sense it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. If things are going well and everything's going smoothly, then you're calm, you're collected. Everything about what you're doing, the dog responds. As soon as you start getting a bit more anxious, then the dog gets a bit desperate as well. So it all spirals out of control sometimes.
Oh my goodness. But here now, he's jumping all over you. There is a heck of a bond, a massive connection between the two of you.
Yeah.
Is that pretty important?
Yeah, definitely. If you've got a bond with a dog, then a dog that has a bond with you will give the extra 10 or 20% to one that's not just as well bonded. You know, the ones that are bonded with you, they want to please you, they want to help you, and they don't like it when they haven't done what you expect, because they're unhappy when you get unhappy, obviously.
And will you work this dog at home on your own stock, or will that ruin him for the trials?
I have about 8 dogs myself. One's retired. There's him and another one that's the same age as him. They're both 3 that I ran here this weekend. I have another one that I use for work as well. And then some pups that are ready for training. And if they're trained, then they have to do the work as well.
This is it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, they pay their way, certainly, but what a great enjoyment side of agriculture it is to be involved with sheepdogs.
Yeah, it is. There's nothing better at the international level. When you get to the top, you have 4 grandstands with people sat in them, and when you do well, when you're stood at the post doing well and the grandstands go quiet behind you. There is nothing like it for the thrill and the hairs on the back of your neck. Just they go, and it's like a drug, and you want to do it again. Once you've been there once, you want to do it again and again.
Yeah. So what's next for you two?
I'm actually organising the English National at the beginning of next month at Meister College near Preston. Oh, yeah. I'm running this one, but not my other one, because the other one didn't get qualified. But I'm running this one. I'm the local chairman, so the last 12 months have been hectic. Yeah. Hard work. Yeah. I learned a steep learning curve, more than it is with dogs.
This is it. Oh, well, wish you all the best anyway, and congratulations again, Michael.
Thank you.
That was Michael Longton from Lancaster, the champion of the Trade de Lure Sheepdog Trials.
Well, when it was all finished and everything was getting put away, I managed to catch up with one of the organisers of the event, and that was the treasurer of the Trade de Lure Sheepdog Trials, Kate Brummett. And first of all, she must have been really pleased of how it went.
Yeah, I don't think it could have gone any better. The weather's been glorious. The sheep have run well, difficult but well. The field's been good. We've had lovely competitors. I think, yeah, a really successful event, and we're really pleased, and hopefully next year can be as good as this year.
Yeah, well, we're standing right in the middle of the field now. The sheep are back out in a graze. The gates are still up, looking beautifully bright, looking fairly new, them.
Yeah, they are. They've kindly been made by Ian Kelly, who's put them together with a donation from the old club who used to run the Manx Open. So they kindly donated some money so we could have a permanent pen and something we could kind of use for years to come.
Now, you've had world champions here this weekend. You've had people from Austria, Italy, all over. That must be rewarding.
Yeah, definitely. It's amazing to see that people actually want to come and visit our island and compete in a trial when they have so many local ones on their doorstep. So for them to come here and compete and to see the sport at the top level on the island is amazing. So,
and what about the local support?
We've had so much local support this year, and from NFU and Microgaming, and then lots of local businesses. Skinners, I know they're not local, but they've gave us a lot of dog food. So it does help, because obviously it costs us money to run the event, and without local businesses' support it wouldn't be possible. So we are really grateful for everyone getting behind us, and the local community coming out and having a watch, and yeah, everyone getting involved. It's been really great.
Yeah, well, I suppose the format doesn't change a lot, I don't suppose, from competition to competition.
No.
But there are certain rules for the scale, or national or international, isn't there?
So we ran on a national style course for the first 2 qualifying days, but then today on the final, where we've had a double gather, so where they have to pick up 1 packet of sheep, bring them to the middle, then go back, send the dog back and pick up a second packet of sheep, move them together then around the rest of the course. And they had to do an international style shed, so that's where there's college ewes, and they have to pull the college ewes off and then pen them. So it really is people at the top of the game who are competing, and it was nice to see some of the maybe not as big names in trialling but still doing really well and getting in the final. And I suppose in the trialling world you don't get very many options, because they obviously have the Welsh, the Scottish, the Irish national, and then they all go on to the international. So it's nice to have a more level playing field for everyone to have a go here. There's no individual area competitions, if you like, that they have to qualify for. So yeah.
But you must be still enjoying it, because you were one of the first, weren't you, on the Sheepdog Trade de Lure then?
Yeah, so 2013 we started the Trade de Lure Sheepdog Trials, and between me and my husband. So yeah, it's been a little while. We had a little bit of a break, but no, we're back again. So hopefully more to come.
Yeah, what about the main organiser? Obviously, you've got to get a judge who we've spoke to him, and he's competed for many years, and is sort of glad to come over as well and support it. And people around about letting the sheep in and out and setting it all up. It's a good team effort, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. No, I don't think you could do it single-handedly, because it takes so many people on the actual day to make the whole event work. You've got 2 or 3 people at the pens letting sheep out. You need somebody to take the sheep off when the trial is finished with them. Obviously make sure the judge is well fed and looked after, especially on a baking day like today, where
especially if you're entering it yourself.
Yeah. And then obviously the admin side of things, and actually making sure that people have checked in, that they're here, we know what dogs they're running, and any sort of problems. Yeah, it takes a lot of people to make it all go smoothly, and that's what it has done this weekend. So we're really grateful for all the help, and one young lad who's never even seen a sheep close up before, I think, came, and I think he's enjoyed himself. So, and it'd be good to keep the momentum going and maybe try and get some local trials back on the Isle of Man as well. Maybe not at this level, but certainly some sort of format where some of the young farmers could perhaps get involved. They might have a dog that would do it and have a go, and see if we can get a few more people interested, and going forward build the support and build the club more, I guess.
Kate Brummett, the treasurer of the Tredelure Sheepdog Trials Committee, and what a wonderful event they put on, as we said at the start of that. And we spoke to so many people on the day. We haven't got time to fit them in this week, so we'll put them on next week's programme. You're listening to Countryside here on Manx Radio with Kiri Kermode and myself, Simon Clark. Well, there's loads of fantastic photographs of various areas of the Isle of Man, but one thing that's getting more popular is seeing aerial photographs, and I caught up with a man who's very experienced in that field now and took some wonderful pictures which are available on his website. Former air traffic controller at Ronsley Airport, John Warnham. And first of all, I asked him how he got into it.
I think because I've held on and off a private pilot's licence for some years, and I always liked looking at the scenes from above. And in the latter days of flying, when I was flying around the Isle of Man, I'd quite often take a little compact digital camera up with me, point it through the window of the light aircraft, take a few photographs to look when I got back. So it was just, I've been retired from my full-time employment, air traffic control, for about 4.5 years now, and just when I was coming up to retirement, these GPS stabilised drones with high quality cameras were becoming available at reasonable costs, and I thought I really quite fancy having a go at that and just taking my photography up into the air instead of from ground level.
Did you buy the £50 one to start with to get used to it?
No, I jumped in at the deep end, and I've had 3 different drones now, and I'm happy to say they're all still flyable. And the first one I bought, though, it was just about over £1,000. So with some trepidation, I've never even flown a radio-controlled model before then. I had 20 minutes tuition at the place I bought it from, and then I was launched on my own.
And are they difficult things to control, or...?
It depends. The cheaper ones, funnily enough, are probably much harder to fly than the more expensive ones. The more expensive ones, like the ones from DJI, like the Phantom and the Mavic, all have GPS stabilisation on them. So that one of the lessons that I was taught in my 20-minute flying lesson was, if it seems to be doing something wrong, take your fingers off the controls and it should just go into a hover. Then have a think why it isn't doing what you're wanting it to do. And it does, it works. You can just leave it sat there and it will automatically compensate for the wind, it won't move.
Oh, I've seen people do that when they learn to ride motorbikes, though. Just take your hand off the handlebar. It doesn't happen sometimes. But yeah, I suppose your interest, I suppose, in the aviation side of it, from being air traffic control and moving to the air photography, because you do get such a different perspective. We all see postcards all our lives and photographs of special areas, particularly around the Isle of Man we're talking about. But to get that different perspective from above, it's difficult to put an accurate location on it sometimes when you're looking at photos, isn't it? You can have a lot of guessing games.
Yes, I've done that a few times actually. I've put a photograph on Facebook or something and going, so does anybody know where this is? And yes, there's a lot of people will get it, but when you get the different perspective, it's good. And you can see sometimes you can put the drone to a place where you just can't get to. I was flying off Mackold Head last week and was able to take it down actually below the level of the cliffs to have a look down there, and there's just no way. You could do it with a helicopter probably, but it would be awfully expensive.
It would be indeed. But I mean, when you first got the drones and things, obviously you'd be quite well aware, I suppose, of the rules maybe of aviation side of it, or does that go out of the window with drone owners?
I think it does with some drone owners, but I think a lot of it is just ignorance that you can go and buy a drone, not in a shop here, but across you can go and buy it in a shop. You can buy it by mail order. And fortunately these days most of the UK dealers will put a little leaflet in it called the UK Drone Code, which tells you, there are laws governing this. However, coming from the air traffic control background, I was well aware of all sorts. There's rules and regulations for everything in flying, and a drone is legally an aeroplane. It's an aeroplane as much as a Boeing 747 is.
Really?
However, because it's a very small aeroplane, it's exempted from a lot of the rules and regulations. But no, there are about 4 specific pieces of legislation covering drone flying, and you really do need to be aware of it. But a lot of people, I think it's just too easy to buy it and fly it. So it's good to try and educate people, and the Isle of Man Aviation Authority are trying to do that. They've got a lot of information on their website now about it.
And what are the main sort of worries? Contact with other aircraft or privacy laws?
The privacy laws are something different. They're exactly the same as anyone with a camera. If you're a press photographer with a long lens or a drone, the privacy laws are exactly the same. The aviation part of it is mainly for safety of persons and properties. So sort of the main ones at the moment, you're not supposed to fly above 400 feet above ground level, because most manned aircraft won't be flying below 500 feet.
Do the drones have altimeters and things to tell you how high they are?
On the screen you're looking at the smaller drones, you'll used to use a smartphone to control them on, but on the bigger ones you have a dedicated screen on it, and it will show you the picture coming from the camera, all sorts of telemetry data coming back about battery states, how far away from you it is, exactly where it is. You've got a little map in the corner to show you where it is over the land, and the altitude, so you can tell at all times. And most of them you can put in a maximum altitude, so you can actually put in, before you fly, the maximum altitude is 400 feet, and you get to about 398 feet and it will beep at you and tell you the maximum altitude is reached, and it will not go above it.
Drones with autopilot, eh?
Oh, very much so, yeah. That's where some people, when they fly them newly, will come unstuck. They are a bit like Airbus aircraft. There's lots of different flight laws that apply in different circumstances, and people have had them fly away in the past.
Really?
And they've posted on Facebook, one of the specialist groups, and other people have analysed what went wrong, and they went, you had it in this flight mode, and it gets so far towards you and it drops out of that flight mode into a different flight mode for various technical reasons, and you think you're pulling the control to bring it towards you, and you're actually flying it away from you.
Oh.
But most of them have an automatic return to home as well. If it loses the control signal, it will come back home. It memorises the position it takes off from, and it will tell you that. When you take it off, it will go home point recorded, and you fly it away.
Good job. Good old pigeon technology there.
And so if it loses the link, it'll bring back, if anything goes wrong for you, one of the emergency procedures, there's a button on the control box, auto return to home. I've used it once in anger. I've practiced using it a few times, and once with the little drone using my phone, the phone battery totally failed on the phone, so I was left with no screen. And I'm thinking, right, the best way to do it is just press the return to home button, wait till it comes back close, and then I'll take over control and land it myself again.
Fantastic. Well, the great thing about what you've done since you've been flying the drones, John, is the pictures are available for the public to see.
Yeah, I've been running the Island Images website since, I came to the Isle of Man in 1990 with the air traffic control job, and kind of started taking photographs of this amazing island from then. In 2000 I started the Island Images website, and I've been running it ever since then. And it was just a new angle on getting photographs. And I love taking photographs, but I do love sharing photographs. And I'm not really in the photo sales business. But so if I take the photograph, I think it's great to share it with people and let other people have a look at what I've been able to see myself.
And has it surprised you, some of the images that comes back, when you're looking at them afterwards?
Not particularly so. Sometimes I go, and that's a really good picture, but in part of the flight planning, because it's not, I don't just sort of go, I'll just go here and fly. There's a certain amount of planning goes into all flying, and so I'll use Google Earth to go, this is where I'm going, this is what I look like, and it's important to identify the hazards. Can I actually fly here? The commercially rated operators in the Isle of Man are allowed to fly within what's known as a congested area, so a village, a town. if you don't have a commercial permission, that is a no-no. You can't fly it out of your back garden if you live in a town.
Right. So you have to be registered now with the drones when you buy them, do you?
No, in the UK are bringing this in from next year. The Isle of Man Aviation Authority has looked at it from the Isle of Man's perspective, and at the moment they say they don't see a necessity to register drone owners. There's actually a big consultation out at the moment, I think till the end of July possibly, that any of the public can go in onto the online site, download, copy, and say what they think about the rules should be about drone flying in the future.
And have you met anyone who's said to you, what are you doing, spying on us or anything like that?
Not generally. I've had a thing where you're supposed to keep 50 metres away from people, as they say wonderfully in the law, not under your control. So if somebody wanders up to you when you're flying...
What are you doing, mister?
You normally have... Yeah, if it's away flying, it doesn't matter. But it's a bit of a distraction, obviously, when you're actually flying it. But you can answer a few questions and that. But you have to go, I'm bringing it back now. The recommendation is you should be... In fact, for takeoff and landing, it's less. It's 30 metres. Yeah. You should be 30 metres away. I'm happy for you to stand there. If you're happy to stay there, it's up to you. And most people will go, yes, that's fine. A few people have gone, I'll walk away. Nobody so far has ever come up to me and go, you shouldn't be doing that. But I plan it carefully and I go, I can fly here. I want to be able to answer them going, no, I'm doing nothing wrong flying here.
So preparation seems to be the key then, doesn't it? Yeah, and because otherwise you will get people who just willy-nilly and will give it a bad name, and goodness knows what rules would come in there.
There's plenty of footage on YouTube about people doing stupid things. First flight and they crash it into a wall and going, well, why were you flying it in a confined space with a wall there on your first flight?
Yes.
There's been ones of the Isle of Man that may be still available on YouTube. Somebody flew it along the promenade at a height just above the lampposts and then across the Villa Marina and posted it on YouTube. I came across that and mentioned it. I was still working at the time, to my boss in air traffic, who got in contact with the person and went, I think you should look up the rules. And the person was very apologetic and hadn't realised that was wrong.
But one thing you were explaining to me just before we started talking was that they're getting used in agriculture more nowadays as well.
Yeah, it seems to be a big thing in the UK and the USA particularly. I was just sort of looking, knowing I was coming to this interview and thinking it might be of interest to some of your listeners, for flying over fields, taking aerial photography of a field, so you could look at how the crops are growing. Are there areas where the crops aren't growing well? There are companies doing automated programs now. You can actually program the drone to fly, probably more in context of UK or USA fields when you've got a vast field. The drone will automatically fly up and down, take all the photographs, which could be visual or infrared photographs, and then it's analysed on the computer later, and the computer will say, you need to fertilise this area better. And it can actually be transferred into farm machinery for spreading fertiliser on the field. The machine would be driven up and down and vary the amounts of fertiliser. But they're also talking about actually planting crops using drones. Apparently that's the technology is there and people are doing it. And crop spraying using a drone rather than an aircraft.
Does it scare you what the future could hold with drones?
No. I'm interested. I like technology and seeing how it's going. It is changing very rapidly, though. I mean, there's these companies like Amazon that want to deliver your parcels to your door using a drone. Seems a bit more just publicity stunt at the moment, but the technology is possible. They have demonstrated it. And there's a big problem for air traffic control there, is how do you integrate and deconflict all these drones with the other aircraft? Because at the moment drones don't show up on air traffic control radar systems.
Okay. If anyone wants to view the images that you've been taking around the Isle of Man for these number of years now, John, where can they see them? Yeah,
they can find my website quite easily. It's changed its address over the years a little bit. They may find when they go on it looks like a different address, but the easiest way to find it is www.islandimages, which is all one word, .im for the Isle of Man, and it'll take you straight to the front page and you'll see the various categories of They basically photos are put on in month batches, and I take photographs throughout the months, put them on, and then there's separate sections for the railways, aircraft, and the aerial photographs. But the aerial photographs go in the main section to start with as well. So you see the latest pictures in, for instance, at the moment in the June section.
John Warnham there from Island Images, and you can go to the website there and see those wonderful pictures that he's took on the Island Images. Just type it into the Isle of Man, you'll find it on John Warnham's page there, and he's got some wonderful pictures and different parts of the Isle of Man, different photographs of where you don't really get to with a normal camera, and they're fantastic shots he's got, and the trials and tribulations of drone flying, some of the rules and regulations that are in place as well, of course, for the safety of people and other airplanes in the sky as well.
But it is such a skill though, Simon, to take any kind of photograph, isn't it? You try and take a picture of a sheep in the field there, and you cut its legs off or you miss its tail off. It's so difficult, yet to take them from the air and, fly it around, get it the right height and the right colours. It must be a skill on its own.
Yes, it is, and getting very popular. And as he said, Amazon could be delivering parcels by drones in the future, but I don't know. I don't think I'd like to see it quite go that far, to be honest.
No, this is it. But some of the photographs are of local places that we know well, but from that angle, you really can't tell where they are, can you?
No. Go and take a look at John's work there, islandimages.co.uk, I think it is, that website. But as we said, we're a bit stuck for time on this week's Countryside, so we'll play some more bits and pieces that we have from the Treadalow Sheepdog Trials on next week's programme. And there we are, plenty of bits and pieces from the Sheepdog Trials, and we said there we've got some more to put in the weeks to come from that, because obviously the people who've made the journey from different parts of the world, and the judge on the day, we like to get his perspective on how they judge these things, and they all have a different way of looking at it, don't they?
They really do, and I can't imagine there'd be much splitting some of those competitors up, because they are so skilled. One lovely lad I will hear in the future programmes is Henry Harrison, 13 or 14 years of age, loves his dogs and can't wait to come back, and his dream is to compete in the International of England against all the other countries, and what a lovely man. But he said it's an easier way to get into sheep farming because you don't need the capital, just him and his dog, and it's a little bit easier than
one man and his dog.
This is it.
But he's in great company, and I'm sure he would get some great advice and experience from them people there.
Oh, absolutely. And even our own local competitors as well, they're right up there, and credit to the Isle of Man. Well done.
Yeah, and we'll get of course you can go to John Warnham's website there, Island Images, and have a look at all those wonderful photographs that John has took. But we'll leave it there for this week's Countryside. We're back next week with more. So from me, Simon Clark,
and me, Kerry Kermode,
we'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.